Light on set. Roll sound.
On speed.
Roll camera.
Hitting. Scene 82, take 3, Mark.
Camera set. Sarah.
Action.
So writing has been something I've been doing for the past 8 years. I had written 3 screenplays and I'd written 2 short films. I think that writing can be a challenge and formatting can be a challenge. I mentioned YouTubers, Hello Future Me, Every Frame a Painting, Nerd Writer, Lessons from a Screenplay. These were all great places, and now there's even more, but they can definitely help. Shannon E. Johnson has some great words of wisdom, and I love what the content that she puts out because she helps writers understand that writing is a craft. Reading definitely helped, but learning the craft was important. Fantasy was where I lived. It was what I did. Every book that I owned had something to do with horror, science fiction, or fantasy. It was what I loved to read. It was what I loved to watch. Game of Thrones, The Witcher, Wheel of Time now. You have so many. But back in the day, it was Willow and Stardust and cartoons and anime. I mean, until the early 2000s when you get Lord of the Rings, which blew my mind, and Harry Potter. I mean, there was so many fantasy films, and we just weren't there. We weren't represented. I knew I didn't want to do anything about Black pain. I knew I didn't want to do anything about police brutality. I wanted to escape. I wanted other Black people to be able to escape. I wanted everyone who watched it, white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever the case may be, to escape. And so I started writing this fantasy web series. I had to think small. I started listing places I had access to. My parents' house, my sister's apartment, my parents' pool, my house. I started thinking about the things we had, and we had bought earlier that year. We had a camera, we had a light. My husband had made me this amazing Deacon's light. He had made me a dolly. I started using what I had to inform what I wrote. And as that started to happen, I started to write smaller and smaller and smaller things. But the truth of the matter is, you have cast and you have crew, and you can't let them go hungry on set. You can't let them be miserable on set. You can't let them spend their own money to get to set. And so my husband, who happily came on as my producer, he came on and took the reins, and I diligently started writing. I already had the groundwork laid for some of the characters because I had done a short film. I'd done a short film and I wanted to take from those characters. And so I started writing. I wrote fantasy. That involved a faun and magic and elves and magic and portals and magic and stunts that we had no way of doing, and walk and talks in lush green areas that we didn't have access to. And the realization started to seep in. Even though I had written as much as I could to have access to, fantasy, especially any kind of epic fantasy, needs a base. And what I decided was that this base was to be a beginning. Queendom Come Season 1 is a beginning. This was the beginning of a girl discovering her magic. A young woman discovering aspects of herself that she didn't really know she had. Ancestral magic that is showing you where your power truly comes from. And control that I think a lot of us don't always have, but have to learn over time, which can allow people to mess with our magic. These are all things that I wanted to discover with this character. I wanted to send her on a journey, and I desperately wanted that journey to be on ethos. But we didn't have that budget. But I knew I could do something great with a young girl here in California discovering her magic. That was my story. I wanted this young Black woman to discover her magic.